Hello, how are we getting on, folks? Hope you're all well. Hope life's treating you uh, well, fine, good, whatever. Um, yeah, it's a wee bit warm today, so I've decided to just have a t-shirt and t-shirt given to me by the Whiskey House in San Diego. If you ever find yourself down that part of the world, put your head in because it's some spot. It's unbelievable. We did an interview with the owner a few weeks ago, uh, back in January, and we have it online if you want to go and check it out because it's unbelievable. But speaking of unbelievable, Killowen have their own whiskey out, their own spirit, and we know that Killowen is everybody kind of has nothing but good things to say about Killowen for various reasons. Mainly because the guys that are down there do a hell of a job. They're so unbelievably passionate, and everybody's looking for their spirit. Now, I'm going to clarify, this is cask number two, um, which we bought. We also bought a cask number one. Not going to review it because, well, the value of this just went. I have a bottle of it, and it's one of those ones that'll be sitting in a collection. That'll be my little collection. So we might get to taste it at some point, but I'm in no big rush because I have bottle number two, and I've been making a fair old dent in it. Now, handwritten label tells you it is. Let me just read. This is September 2022, cask number two, a contemporary acknowledgement of authentic Irish whisky tradition. Single cask distilled May 19, 200 litre ex bourbon, bottle 304 of 343, bottled at 57.5, single pot still, authentically and unashamedly 3 years old, bottled at cask strength. And our Killowen guy. Now, Brendan down there, everybody likes Brendan. You can't, it's kind of hard not to. Someone who's just passionate about what he does. I said before, passion beats everything. It's infectious. Um, so, presentation wise, it's a bit of a strange presentation. It comes in this sort of 3/4 wooden box with a wee elastic band on it to keep it in check. It's a bit of a weird presentation. It's not certainly not what we were expecting with the old Celtic symbols. Um, it just tells you here, Barántúil is what it means. It means true to the original spirit of Irish whiskey. Wild fermented wort, flame fire distillations, specially selected casks. Now this is a mash bill pot still. Whiskey is obviously, for those who don't know, is Irish pot still whiskey is a mix of malted, unmalted barley, and other grain. Now, because this says pot still Irish whiskey, single pot still, it'll be PGI compliant, which means that it's got, in what ratios I don't know, but it is malted, unmalted barley, but it's got oat, rye, and wheat in it, which is be in small quantities. But what's it like? Now, the color wise, it's only 3 years old, and there's no colouring added to this, by the way, because I'd love to see Brendan's face if someone said, "Oh, is there colouring in this?" He would flip his lid. But we've got a little tasting glass. I'll tell you why. I've run out of Glencairns, and this is a bit of a joke because I'm doing a whiskey tasting. I bought 250. I bought 250 glasses, and I've all boxed up, but I don't have them at home. I have them in my mate's house. I only have two Glencairns, and they're both they're both in the wash. So it's a bit of a strange thing when you've a couple of hundred Glencairn glasses and you don't have any of them. So anyway, these are the mini Glencairn glass, and this one I actually got from the Blair Raffle distillery. Whenever I was up on a tour. So anyway, This percentage wise, 57.5. Very fresh, quite citrusy, touches of vanilla. It's lemon fresh, lemon flesh. Even sort of, you know, the little, is it sif or zif? You know, I mean, it's lemon, but it's not. It's lemon juice, but it's not actually lemon juice. There's a little, you know, there's you squeeze it on your pancakes and Shrove Tuesday and stuff. Oh, it's got toffee elements to it. Kind of liquid toffee that's being made rather than set toffee. So it's quite fragrant, quite sugary. And there's a little element of toasted uh, toast, actually toasted bread. Yeah, toasted bread, possibly buttered toast. Actually, on the nose now that I think about it, and just a tiny little bit, tiny little element of salinity there. Just a tiny little bit. It's maybe actually slightly crossover between saline and acidic. Um, there's a little bit there where it just sort of adds in an element. You know what I mean? It's that kind of element where it's quite subtle, um, and that salinity, that sort of the note I'm trying to convey is if you've ever had cured salmon, there's that little sweetness that's also from the salinity. It's that where you can cure salmon with lemon juice. It goes cured, and it's that little note which is kind of briny, but it's also acidic. If you know that style of cooking that I'm talking about, you'll understand the note I'm trying to convey. Yeah, it's definitely there. Definitely. Now on the palate. Mm. First things well. First things first. How they get as much mouthfeel in that for a 3-year-old whiskey is beyond me. It's lovely. It's viscous. It's chewy, thick. As soon as it hits your mouth, coats your entire mouth, and it loves it. Oozes quality, oozes flavour. Yeah, I have to say that. Big hit of cloves. I mean, honestly, on the finish, as soon as you swallow that, boom, there's a big hit of cloves, and it just, those spice notes are just right in your face. It needs a tiny little bit of water, and I say just a tiny little bit. There's not an awful lot there. Um, little drop, and that'll make all the difference to this, because just whenever all that spice comes in, it kind of just dominates, and that little bit of water pulls it down, opens it up a little bit, and then you get more flavour out of it, and it works so much better on the arrival. Once it goes in onto your palate, mm, it's quite fiery. Um, yeah, it is quite fiery. It's got lots of sort of jalapeno notes on it. It is quite spicy and chili-esque. Yeah, it's also slightly tannic, um, drying on the tongue, which is really nice. I like that because you get those elements in wine that and tea. I'm a tea drinker, so I like that tannic notes. Chili element on the tongue, fiery, and all the better for it. but it's all spice, spice, spice. If I'm honest, loads of cloves, touches of cinnamon, little bit of ginger, little bit of fennel, and it's just spicy. Um, so yeah, you've got chili, cinnamon, ginger, fennel, massive amount of cloves. Uh, there's because of how good the mouthfeel is, you kind of want to say honey, but there's no honey there. But it's got that element of textural of honey, but it doesn't taste of honey. I don't think that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like a, it's like some sort of chili honey that's spiced chili honey without having any sweetness. It doesn't really have any sweetness. It's in that regard, it's all the better for that. Too many things try to be too sweet. This is not making any effort to be sweet. It's just packed full of flavour, and there's no real sweetness to this. Maybe a little bit, maybe just a little bit on the nose, but when it goes under your palate, it just there's no real effort at being sweet. There's it's all spice. Yeah. Mm. I have one on the end of the finish. There's a load more sort of black licorice comes in at the end. I do have one critique of this. It's a little chalky, and it kind of feels a little chalky, and it kind of feels a little bit unbalanced. It doesn't have. It's 3 years old. It's mature beyond its years, but it's a bit like it's a bit of a child prodigy, and I mean this in a really really um, everybody knows I'm a big fan of Killowen, but this is a little bit of a critique. It's like a child prodigy, huge expectations, and it can do amazing things. This is a good whiskey, but it is limited. It does need to have the maturity. I think as this goes forward, it'll lose some of the elements of the spiciness. It'll lose that, and it just will because as whiskey matures, it quietens down and starts to take on different notes. That's why people want the different notes and that sort of earthiness. It probably won't make that much of a difference because as it gets older, this is going to get more and more notes that people will appreciate more. The problem with this is always going to be that it's very small. Most of the stuff that they're going to release is single casks, and we all know that they don't have huge production range, and they don't have massive warehousing facilities. Are Cologne ever going to be able to bring out something that's more than a few years old? If they do, it's tiny, tiny little amount. I mean, the trickle. In 10 years' time, how much stuff are they going to be able to release that's 10 years old? Probably not very much. They don't make very much out of anything at any point. But this will probably benefit from an extra couple of years in the cask. Um, as one of their first, as their second release, as their one of their very first releases. It's a fantastic whiskey, mature beyond its years, but it is limited in what it can do. Um, am I pleased with the result of their first bottlings? Absolutely. It's a great whiskey, but as I say, that little chokiness, if that was pulled in, some of it tamed down a little bit in terms of the massive amount of spiciness that's there, and maybe a few more elements of a little creamier notes coming up through, um, quietening everything down and adding some stuff to it. It would be better. Um, little touch of water in it certainly helps. But if I'm marking this, price wise, again, we've got to factor that in a little bit. Um, I'm going to give this I'm going to factor in the price, and I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10 because it's young, but it's quite expensive. The presentation I'm not sold on. The whiskey is really, really good, but it's a little bit limited. And it's very easy to turn around and say, oh, this is packed full of flavour and give it a big score. But it's disjointed. It just needs a little bit calming down. Mouthfeel wise, it's superb. And if that improves, then it'll just make it unbelievably good. But as it stands, very nice whiskey, great effort, nice to see it out. But I have to be realistic. It's it's 3 years old. It's quite expensive as a bottle, but it it's if this is the start of it, in a few years' time, this is just going to get better and better and better. So yeah, great effort, and well, we all know we all thank the world of the guys down there. So this is me signing off. I wish you all farewell, and I will hopefully see you again soon. So Killowen Barántúil, what was it Barántúil means? Barántúil, true to the original. That's it. True to the original. Listen, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.